Hi, my name is Tammy. Welcome to my channel, Let's Heal. I created this channel to give people who had been in narcissistic relationships, who are out of them or who are still in them, a place to come together and talk about their experience and try to figure out what the heck is going on. Today I want to talk about 7 signs that you are with a narcissist. If you are watching this, chances are pretty good that something is going on that's big enough that you can't explain it any other way, and you've possibly come across the term narcissist or NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, and you are questioning whether you are with a narcissist. So the first thing that I noticed that was a very notable and aggravating thing to deal with is that they control the conversations. When you have a conversation, you never leave the conversation thinking that you've accomplished anything. They will control and manipulate the conversation into what they want it to be, and your input is usually ignored and you are corrected because obviously you're not right. You can't be right about anything, so it seems like you're almost in a battle when you're trying to have a conversation. They will interrupt you, they will talk over you, and they have no interest in what you're saying at all. And they also have really no interest in solving anything. Like if you're sitting there in the middle of a conversation and your goal is to try to work through this insanity that you call a relationship, chances are that you're the only one there with that goal in mind. Your narc is going to just try to manipulate and control the conversation and try to make themselves look like they're the one that has done no wrong and you're the crazy one. So if you're feeling controlled and like the conversation is never productive, there's a good chance. The second one is they have little regard for society rules. I suppose there are different degrees of that. I can tell you from my experience, my narc doesn't like the police, will call them names to their face, has no regard for even just a healthy fear or respect of the law or of authority figures. They will always push the boundaries because they are superior in their minds to everyone. So society rules, even so much as basic society norms, like, you go to bed at a certain time, you get up at a certain time. If you've made an appointment with someone, you actually make sure that you're going to meet that appointment. You show up. You don't just not go. Those are the types of things that, they don't feel they need to answer to anyone. Therefore, they don't feel they need to conform to the structure of normal society. My narc happens to be very antisocial also, and he has a very little regard for anyone in any capacity of authority. Number 3, they violate your boundaries. With my narc, there seems to be no way to draw a line in the sand. If you say, you know what, I've had it. Here's the line. I am telling you for the last time, this is it. It's like you're talking to air, because they are not gonna change. They're not going to go, oh, I'm so sorry, I did not realize that I was offending you, or that made you feel uncomfortable. I will never call you another name ever again, and I do apologize. No, that's not how it works. They do not have consideration for you or your feelings. Therefore, your boundaries are, just words to them. Makes me think of the old Charlie Brown movies where you could never hear what the adults were saying in the background. It was always like that wah, wah, wah. That's what they act like you're doing. Like, there are no words coming out of your mouth. I will do what I please. So they will blame you then ultimately for their own disrespect. So boundaries they don't care. They could care less about your boundaries. The fourth thing is that they have a very superior view of themselves. And I've read a lot where they will say they, are climbing to the top and they want, and there are all different types of individuals who would have narcissistic tendencies. And mine happens to not be one who wants to conform to society at all. Therefore, he doesn't want to participate in any of it. But he still has that very superior, I'm better than everybody view. He thinks he's beautiful. He thinks he's God's gift to women. He thinks, his junk is right up there and, you've never had better. Like he's very, very into himself and he's so grandiose. And I think of grandiose most of the time when I hear that word, I think of, a little more flamboyant, I guess. He doesn't do it in a flamboyant fashion. He uses that in a big argument where he's trying to belittle me and he can, throw all these insults out at me. He's younger. He's, better looking. He's whatever. This, he's that. But he always has this view of himself as being wonderful. God's gift to women, to every woman he's ever crossed paths with. And every woman out in the streets, out in the doctor's office or the grocery store or wherever he happens to go is after him, according to him. So it's that false image that they have to keep up to make everyone else feel less than, I guess. Which brings me to the whole topic of verbal abuse. Obviously, the verbal abuse is meant to, keep you feeling less than, and that's how they feel more superior and more important and better and smarter, better looking, whatever it is, but they have to feel that superiority. That's part of their strong desire to be able to cope with their personality. So lowering your self-esteem boosts theirs in their opinion, and that's, that makes them feel good. Number 5 is they have a sense of entitlement. I can't even stress enough how that, how big that is. Mine, who doesn't work and therefore doesn't often have anything to contribute financially, still thinks that I should pay his phone bill, his auto insurance, all of his food, not charge any rent. Like he's not going to pay a certain amount of money for the rent or the utilities or anything in the household because that's my problem and I would have had that house whether he was there or not. So therefore, everything is on my plate to pay for and nothing is on his. If he happens to contribute, there's always going to be strings attached. But he's even gone so far as to say, I should sign over half of the house to him. And if he's going to be staying home a couple days a week watching our daughter, that he should be paid to watch her. And although he's sitting there taking all of this for granted, all of that I'm giving and all of the vehicles he's been bought that I've purchased for him and all of the living expenses and food and, all the things that I've covered. And then he can turn it around and say, no, I'm not going to pay my insurance this month. That's your job. You knew how I was when I got with you. So they have a huge sense of entitlement. I mean, huge, like you can't even believe someone would have that audacity, the audacity to talk to you like that. Like, so everything I've done is just a given, but I ask you to do one thing and that's this big deal. Well, that's how they view it. They view it as, the world revolves around them and, you are the supply. You're the supply. So quit having feelings. You shouldn't have feelings. You're the supply. That's your job. Stick to your role, kind of a thing. Number 6 is they have an exaggerated sense of self-worth, which I kind of just said that in what I was saying earlier. They are the important one, and you are down here. You know, they're up here and you are down here. You are the supply, and the world is revolving around them, and their needs are to be met, and yours, what needs? What? You have needs? You know, it's like they don't even acknowledge that you have needs. Everything is geared towards keeping everyone in their role. You have to stay in your role, and I have to stay in mine. And if you talk about your needs and that you want needs or that you want out, I'm going to cut you down, and I'm going to cut you down quick so I can keep you where you're supposed to be. So they have to be, you know, the king. They have to be the most important aspect in the universe, so to speak. And the seventh thing, which to me is like the most telling, the most obvious, and that is you find yourself surrounded by negative emotions. You're seeing all of this stuff. You're seeing they don't care. They don't want to participate in working on a relationship with you. They don't listen to your boundaries. They feel they're better than you. They feel they're entitled to everything and you're entitled to nothing. You know, all of these things, but it all boils down to they are surrounding you with negative emotions, and everywhere you look, it's like negative energy is flowing at you. I often say it's almost like you're trying to, like darts are being flung at you, and you're constantly trying to dodge the darts. This is meant to keep you off balance. It's meant to you know, keep you feeling less than, keep your self-esteem low, so that they can keep their thumb on you and keep you providing the service that you're there for, which is their narcissistic supply. You know, and if you don't do that, then if you slight them in any way, you know, the negative emotions that they emit are huge. They are very easily upset. They are like children emotionally, but in big people bodies. They are so sensitive to criticism. If my narc, who is extremely verbally abusive, if I turn the tails, which, you know, in the process of figuring out what was wrong with him, I've tried everything. I've tried pleading with here's the truth, and here's, you know, here I am. I'm not a bad person. I'm this person, and I'm not sure how, you know, you viewed me that way, but here's the reality. I've tried that method, and that doesn't work. I've tried, you know, the reverse psychology method, and I've tried to, like, target them. Like, they're so good. He's so good at picking all of my faults, any fault that I have or that he perceives I have, and targeting them and trying to embarrass me and humiliate me and make me feel worse about it. So I tried that even with him. I tried, he has this thing with his hair, and he's losing his hair, so he shaves his head, and he tries to do it in this meticulous way so that it doesn't look like he's going bald on top, but because that matters greatly to him for some reason. And so one day, after he had slung about, I don't know, 20 or 30 different insults at me, I called him bald back. I said something like baldy. And it killed me to do it because it's out of my character to be mean to someone, very much so. And I didn't like the feeling of it. But to this day, he talks about that like it was the worst thing I ever did to him. You know, like, I can't believe you hurt me like that because you called me baldy. And I'm thinking, I can't even believe you totally space off all of the things you have said to me, and I tried it one time to you, and you've still never let me live it down, kind of a thing. But that's all part of it. That's just part of how they are. They're also very quick to judge, very quick to criticize and ridicule you. You know, you could have an idea and they will shoot it down. It's a stupid idea. That's a really bad color to paint that room. Whatever it is, I mean, they are going to judge you. And if you, you're never going to get your point across. No matter what you try and what avenue, what conversation you're having, you are not going to get your point across to them. And if you dare try to say they are doing something wrong or they could improve on something, look out, because you just started World War II, III, whatever. because they are now narcissistically injured, and it's your fault, and they are going to punish you until they deem you punished enough, I guess. So be prepared for the verbal onslaught of names and the emotional abuse. So anyway, just some things to think about if you find yourself in a relationship where you are feeling these things and where you feel like you're not being heard and you feel like you're surrounded by this terrible, heavy negative energy, and nothing you say to them is getting through, and you're months into the relationship and you're still talking about the same topics and you're still coming to the same conclusions and they're not changing, and you're saying, I'm a good person, I am a good person, I'm not cheating on you, I've never cheated on you, and yet they're saying that, yes, you're a cheat, you're a whore, you're a slut, you're ugly, or whatever. Chances are you are with a narcissist. Now, the question is where are they on the spectrum? Is it a full-blown narcissistic personality disorder you're dealing with, or is it someone with narcissistic traits? That's left up, that's something that you still need to determine, but I would highly recommend that you start doing some major research and protect yourself in every way you can. If you are still in the relationship, which I am as well, start planning your exit strategy and try to figure out how to get out of it, because you will never, ever change them. They will not change. And that is my goal. My goal is to figure out a way to move him on down the line, but unfortunately he's in my house and he won't leave. So, if you're dating somebody and you see these tendencies, my recommendation would be do not move them in your house. Do not let them bring their stuff to your house, and do not let them change their address to your house, because then you have to evict them. So they are very, very shrewd, and they are very good at extracting the narcissistic supply that they need from you, whether you want them to or not. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. And I'm getting a little lonely out here. I really need some support as well. And post your comments below. I would love to talk about this, and I would love to, work on some exit strategies together. Thanks, and have a great day.